everybody, what is going on? I am coming at you today with another beginner's guide, and about this time I am continuing the beginner's guide sort of like program that I'm doing for Star Trek Online with weapons, more specifically beam weapons, or energy damage weapons actually would be more precise. So what I'm going to be talking about is the different types of energy weapons there are. What could benefit you more, whether you're using cruisers, science vessels, escorts, and just really to go from there. Because there's a lot of thing that I see on this game. It's actually a lot of people. It's known to a lot of us more advanced players as a rainbow boat, which is where you have energy weapons of all different colours or a mixture of beams and cannons. So I'm going to start off with beams, but it basically goes pretty much the same for your cannons, but I'm just going to focus on beams. So you have several different types of beams. The game wants to sort itself out. Let's take on there. So you have anti-proton, you have disruptor, phaser, plasma, proton, and tetron. There are some others on there, such as proton, but I'm not going to focus on them today. I'm just going to be focusing on these 6 right here. So I'm actually going to start off with phaser. So with your phaser beams, you generally can have a look at a standard phaser beam and it will be an orange beam color. There are variations of it, so there can be a blue color, for example, which is primarily the original series look. There is also some other variations, but I'm just looking at standard beam weapons that you can get from either your fleet, that you can create yourself, as you can see here on my screen. That's what I'm in the research and development section, so I can actually create these weapons. So your phasers are a pretty bog standard weapon, to be honest. They've kind of got a bit more of an all-round. If I actually take you onto my ship, I've actually got phasers equipped to my ship at the moment. As you can see with my phasers there, you have the abilities at the top. Now mine are fully upgraded. You can't get them fully upgraded unless you actually upgrade them yourselves, which is, okay, it's going to take some time, but you will get there. So you have, I have on mine, is I have a increased critical hit chance. It's a critical hit chance, isn't it? Yeah, it's I'm alright, I'm down myself. I have 2 times damage, and I have a penetration as well on there, which is in the brackets bits right at the top. If some of you are looking about where are you looking, it's the brackets right at the top after phaser beam array Mark 14. So as you can see on mine, obviously it's a phaser array. The energy damage is 250 arc on the targeting arc, and to the target does. This is just base stats as well, because I am actually in space dock. You do 1,181.9 phaser damage, or 945.6 DPS. It has a minus 9.1 weapon power to self whilst this weapon is firing, so it costs less. And when firing energy weapons, it has a 2.5% chance of 832.5 physical damage every 1 second for 10 seconds, and this ignores the shields, which is pretty good. Not bad. Where was I? So, when firing projectile weapons, 10% chance, 832.5 physical damage every 1 second. Again, that ignores, it's there again, it's in there double. Underneath you have the plus 2% critical chance and a plus 10% accuracy. So the next bit underneath is, its proc, the next bit underneath. So it's a little effect that it has. So to target has a 2.5% chance. One random subsystem will be offline for 5 seconds. All attacks with this weapon have 10 armor penetration, which is okay. Phasers, they're an all-round sort of all come and love me kind of weapon. I like them mainly because I actually like the nostalgia behind them. Obviously, in all of the programs, Federation actually do just normally stick with phaser-based weapons. They don't branch out normally to anti-proton, to polaron, everything like that. So we have got that right there. So that's the phasers. Obviously you can't get them in just normal beams, you can even get extra different types. So I have a prolonged engagement phaser beam array, which was actually for an event last year, which is, it just has some extra effects on there for you. So I'll let you have a quick, if you need to pause it, please pause it, just have a quick look. But this is a variation, so I'm not actually too bothered in reading that out, so I'm just going through the basic. Think of this as a little mini episode. Okay, so like I said, they do come in different colours as well. You can get your standard twin phaser beams from the original series, which come in blue, and you can get just your normal single beam phaser beam array like these ones, but again in blue. They have the exact same effects. So do watch what you're putting on, just in case you think you've put on a phaser and accidentally put on something like, I don't know, and especially if you are new, in case you put on something like tete or stuff like that. So do have a quick read. You can get your omnidirectionals there. Again, one of them is a trilithium enhanced one, so that's actually not a standard one that I'm actually looking at. I'm actually just looking at your original, and I actually created this one myself, which is quite easy to do after you hit level 15 in the research and development. So if I take you back onto the research and development right here, so I'm going to move on from phasers now. So the next one I'm actually going to do is going to be a disruptor. So let's take you back onto disruptor beams, which is these ones right here. Obviously there is a little bit of dialogue up there that you can read, however it does cut it off, and for the life of me I cannot find how to extend it. But basically, okay, so they usually come in a green beam. It's very noticeable from a plasma beam, which is also sort of a green beam, but it's a little bit paler. So your disruptor beams are quite a heavy dark green beam. So when you're looking at them, the proc that you usually have for them is a 2.5% chance to minus 10% damage resistance. It's a debuff for yourself. So by looking at them, what I'm going to do, I've actually got one there. It's not a fully upgraded. Let's get a fully upgraded one, shall we? Okay, so you can have a quick look there. So it has the same targeting arc, the 250 degree targeting arc. To the target it does 898.7 disruptor damage. However, that is not equipped currently, so it isn't. None of it's been modified. This is just what the weapon does itself. Minus 9.1% weapon power to self. Again, it has that deduction on the power. And then here's the proc, the 2.5% chance to minus 10 all damage resistance for 15 seconds. Also gives me a plus 6% critical chance, plus 20% critical severity, and a plus 10 accuracy. So that is always pretty decent. I do actually love using disruptors. The main thing about disruptors is they do come in a lot of different colours, in the way of they don't actually just come in standard green. They come in all sorts. They even come in orange, which can make it look like a phaser. So yeah, again, it's not hard to distinguish unless you're really going and having a look at everything. You shouldn't miss the fact that a disruptor is a disruptor. If I take you on and just show you from down, so you have these ones here. These are disruptors. However, they are a Krager wave disruptor weapon. So they are actually something completely different, but they are still a disruptor weapon. So you can certainly mix all your disruptors right there. So, plus also actually you even have nanite disruptors just underneath, and a Nausicaan disruptor there, but that, again, that's not looking at the standards, I'm just looking at the standards. So that's your disruptor. Let's take it back on. I'm going to be zipping back and forth to these all the time. Again, you can also get the omnidirectional beams as well for all of these. So the next one I am going to be looking at is, I've decided I am going to go for plasma, I think. Yeah, let's go for plasma. Which is this one right here. So you can see that the beam is a little bit sort of like a turquoisey sort of a green, not to be mistaken with Tetrion, which is this one here. So you just need to have a double check, just read what's there, don't just look at the colours, because I have to admit, when I first started, I did just look at colours, and I actually had plasma mixed with this, that, and the other, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. You know, we've all been there. We all know how to get there. So you have your plasma there. So the proc on the plasma has a 2.5% chance to create a non-stacking damage over time effect, which is your basic radiation burn. If you ever fight the Borg, you'll notice that parts of your ship are burning green. That'll be why. That'll be why. I actually don't think I have any plasma weapons, actually. I think there's one that I've never actually... Well, I've been interested in, to be honest. I've never even really looked into going and get plasma. I have all sorts, like the proton, stuff like that, but... No, I do not. Okay, let's quickly just nip on there. You know what? Let's just create a standard. No, that's anti-proton. Don't do that. So just create a quick level 2, so you can just have a quick look. I'm going to break it up soon anyway. Okay, so if we're having a look here. So, again, you have that 250 degree targeting arc. You're always going to have that. This is obviously only a level 2, so the DPS and everything is a lot lower, and it will be. Unfortunately, I can't fix that. Unfortunately, I'm not spending my upgrades just to upgrade something I'm not going to use, to be honest. So the abilities I have on here is a 2 times a critical damage increase, or critical severity, and an overcharge, which creates a... Use the overcharge ability or the beam abilities to power up your beams for one shot. That is what that is. It's like a mini version. So looking at the DPS on this, obviously again only level 2, but it's got a 443.1 plasma damage or 354.5 DPS. It also has that minus 9.1 weapon power, which is fantastic. It's what you always want again. There's the proc just underneath it with a 2.5% chance of 39.3 plasma damage per second for 15 seconds, and it does ignore the shields, because if you ever fight the Borg, it's a mess. So underneath that, on this actual weapon, I have a plus 40% critical severity, and this is the overcharge bit. 2.5% chance your next beam attack is an overload. That deals 470% of its normal damage. It's pretty decent, to be honest. I mean, it's not a bad ability to have. If I had that mixed with shield pen, which you can't, but if I had it mixed with shield pen, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So that is plasma. I will give you my views on what 100% on all the ones that I would actually go for, depending on situations like PvE or PvP, at the end anyway. So the next one I am actually going to be going for is Tetrion, which is more of a support build weapon, to be honest. Because what it does, and if I take you on there, boop, if you have a quick look at it, just on there, you can see the details just on the right there. So again, it's another blue beam. There are other variations of it. However, once again, I'm only sticking to the standard ones. So no variations. I should have some Tetrion based stuff on here, because I think I did create a load, unless I deleted it, which is always going to be a bit of a bummer, especially for this video, and I have a very bad feeling that I have done that. Yeah, I deleted it. It's okay. It was an upgrade, it was alright. Perhaps I should just create one of everything, to be honest. So, go on to Mark 2 again, shall we? Okay, let's take you back up there. Boop. Okay, so you have Tetrion Beam Mark 2 here. So, the abilities that this one's actually come with, it's come with 2 times accuracy, so that will increase my accuracy twofold rather than just increasing it the once, it will increase it the twice. And a critical damage or critical severity increase there as well. So, with the Tetrion you have here, you have again 250. It's the same with all beams other than the dual beams. It's a little bit different with the dual beams, but I'm only looking on your single beams at the moment. I can go onto the duals afterwards. So you have a 250 degree targeting arc. To target does 443.1 Tetrion damage with 354.5 DPS. With that minus 9.1 weapon power to self. So again, fantastic because it costs less weapon energy. To target, this is the proc, so you have a 2.5 chance to minus 269.5 damage to all shield facings, which as a support build, it's pretty good. So if you're running this game with friends, and unlike myself, who I have my weapons actually built for shield penetration, so that way I don't need to bother with anything about lowering the shields. I can just go straight through the shields, straight out the hull, which is pretty good. Obviously, not all damage goes straight there because that would be completely OP. But a decent enough actually goes through to actually take out sort of your advanced and your elite PvEs very easily. I normally use a tactical ship for mine just because I'm a tactical officer, it benefits me more. I'm only using my cruiser at the moment because it's brand new out. I've recently just done a review, so check that one out, and I really enjoy it. I just really enjoy it, and I love the ship. Also giving me that plus 20 accuracy rating, which is those 2 times, so it only give me a plus 10 accuracy rating on that beam normally. I only had the 1, with a plus 20 critical severity. 20% critical severity, actually shouldn't just say 20. Plus 20% critical severity. So again, that's the Tetron build. Your Tetron's not one of the worst ones actually. It's pretty good, especially if no one on your team focuses on shield penetration. It really does help drain the shields very quickly. My friend when we were playing, he uses Tetron. He likes the look of it. And yes, the shields just go boop 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 and gone. So the next one I'm going to be looking at, because that is pretty much it for the Tetrion, I'm going to be looking for Polaron. I believe I should have some Polaron stuff on here. I'm hoping I have some standard Polaron. Pink! Oh, there we go. There's some standard Polaron. Okay, so this is Mark 12, this one, because this is actually one I'm actually building for my science ship, because they are designed for draining subsystems, which is what a science ship is for, ideally, so that's pretty good. So if you have a look at it on here, I have the accuracy bonus, I have 1 critical damage bonus, and 1 damage bonus. On all the bonuses that you get up at the top there, damage is a pretty good one just to have as standard. I mean, most of my beam weapons I actually use for PvE, PvP, usually have normally a minimum of 2 damage on there, 2 damage bonuses on there. I try to go for 3, but they are also epic level as well, so they will have that extra space on there. So if you have a look at it, you have on this one I have a 650.2 Polaron damage to the target, which equates out to 520.2 DPS. You have that minus weapon cost there again, and to the target this time, this is the proc, so you have your 2.5% chance to minus 35.6 all current power levels for 5 seconds. So obviously the little numbers you have on your left hand side of your screen, if you just have a look on the cursor next to my shields, on the left hand side of my screen next to my shields, you have all your little numbers. So on mine I have 125 out of 100, 84 out of 50, 57 out of 25, etc, etc, or you know what, I'm not going to leave the next one out, 65 out of 25. There we are. It drains them. That's what goes down, and if you can't actually use that, if you have 0 on everything, you are dead in the water. You have no energy to do anything. So you may notice when you're actually fighting that you may look at it and your weapons have actually drained completely, and you can't fire your weapons, they're offline. If you actually look over to the left hand side onto those stats right there, that will tell you everything you need to know on how healthy your ship is, to be honest, and it will normally tell you if they are offline. So that's not a bad little thing to have, especially for a science vessel. It's pretty decent because your science vessels also come equipped with heavy shields, and they can tank the shields pretty nicely. The main science vessel I actually use is actually the Intrepid class. I believe on here it's the long range science vessel, something like that. But it's pretty decent. It's actually my favourite, so that's why I use that. I have the 10% accuracy there with that ability just on the top, with the 20% critical severity. So that is Polaron. So if you are a science build, I'd recommend going for that. There are a lot of equipment such as different warp cores, deflectors, everything like that, that will actually boost that draining ability. And like I said, the build that I'm currently building for my science vessel has been quite well known through the Star Trek community to be quite a drainer. So that's always pretty nice. Unfortunately, I missed the last upgrade weekend, so I couldn't do anything with them. The next one I'm going to deal with, the next energy I'm going to deal with is actually going to be anti-proton, which, if this stops that, be good. To be honest, actually, I'm going to use this one. So here's the anti-proton because it's the Mark II. I've done others in Mark II. So on this one I have the accuracy, the critical damage, and again I have the 443.1 anti-proton damage, 354.5 is pretty standard. Has the minus weapon cost there, the plus 40% critical severity, and the plus 10 accuracy rating, which is fantastic because the more shots you hit, the more damage you're doing, obviously. Okay, so on that, I have the critical severity, the plus 40% critical severity, which is what anti-proton beams are absolutely fantastic with, is that they actually boost this. The critical severity gets boosted. That's their prog. That's what it is. The 10% accuracy from the top there. But if you are going into something like a PvP match, your anti-proton beams are normally one that's actually favoured because they have this high critical severity. So the higher the critical severity, the more damage you're doing, and the more critical chance you have, the more critical severity damage you're doing, the more critical hits you're hitting, which, equipped with things such as penetration, which I think my ones down here might have. Yeah, my ones down here might have. I haven't re-engineered these. I'll come on to re-engineering in a second. I haven't re-engineered these to actually help with putting excess damage on there, because I kind of came away from anti-proton a bit. Again, the overload bit there, you can see there, 2.5% chance your next beam attack weapon is an overload. That deals 470% of its normal damage. So that is the anti-proton out of the way. I think, actually, we have gone through all of the beams now, actually. So there are actually many things that you can do to actually benefit your shits when you are actually fighting. And a lot of people actually say, there's no point in actually working on your build if you're only going to do PvE. I disagree with that. I completely disagree with that. Mainly because, do you not want your ship to be the best it can be? I mean, that's what I go for. I'm not a big fan of PvP. I do it now and then, but I'm not a big fan of it. And I do prefer PvE, but I will do the higher ranked PvEs. But, and to do that, you've actually got to start working a little bit better. Because if you're slapping on with your if you say you chose phases, you're slapping Polaron on there, you're slapping Tetrion on there, thinking you're going to cover all the bases. You're actually going to be incorrect there. You're actually going to do less damage. Mainly because if you're spreading your tactical consoles up between all of those different beams, you're actually limiting what your ship's the damage output your ship's doing. So if you focus on one energy type and equip your tactical consoles, as you can see at the bottom I have the weird little star looking ones. These are from the fleet banks, so you can buy them from your fleet. If you're not in a fleet, find a fleet, work your way up so you're able to buy them, and buy them, because they are a fantastic little thing. And what they do is they give you your regular 37.5 increased energy damage, but they'll also give you a 1.9% critical chance, which will increase your critical chance hit even more. So what you're going to really want to do is just stick with that one energy type. It's fantastic. It works very well, and they really do flow with each other. You'll notice that you can get certain consoles, which if you have a look on here, so we have a look at the beam consoles, you can get these ones if you're not in a fleet right now. Don't worry too much about upgrading them. I did that. I upgraded them all up to maximum, then found out that the fleet ones are better. And this is, I want to say, back in the day. This is back in the day. And I found out they're better, and I was absolutely gutted. Absolutely gutted. You see, you can make these up to level 12, and that should be suffice enough to get you through and start getting you all the resource and everything to build up your fleet standing, so you can get your fleet tactical consoles. But this is what they're going to look like to begin with, which is fine. The directed energy distribution manifold. problem with them, they actually do less, and they are pretty pointless in my opinion. I've never used them other than when I first started the game, because obviously resources were very limited, and if that's all you can have, that's all you can have. So if you have got enough to fill your tactical console slots with these other little consoles here, go for them instead. They are going to benefit you a lot more. As again, like I said, if you beamboat it, you are going to be handicapping your damage output quite significantly. So, I mean, if you look at all the weapons I have here, I do have a huge mixture here. I have phasers, disruptors, anti-protons, but they're all different variations, and I'm not going to get into big variations of them now. You can most certainly, as long as they are all the same energy type, certainly mix different types of them, such as these two disruptor beams. I can mix them together because they are both disruptor, and it's both going to be benefiting from the consoles, from the tactical consoles. But that is basically a bit of a lowdown on beams. To be honest, they're pretty simple. It's pretty much the same for cannons. There are different variations of cannons. I'm actually going to do the cannons on a different video, just because there are a few different types. So with the beam ones, I think that is going to be it for the beam consoles. So if you do have any questions, please do feel free to ask. You can find, if you're watching this on Twitch, you can find all the videos uploaded to YouTube. If you want to comment on there, I'm a lot more responsive on YouTube than I am anywhere else. If you're watching it on YouTube, then yeah, just drop a comment down at the bottom. And I'm normally pretty good, and I normally get back to you basically straight away, because, you know, message doesn't take 2 seconds. So, if you have enjoyed this video and you feel like I have actually helped you out quite a bit, please let me know again in the comments. Please leave a like and subscribe. That will really help me out quite a bit. But for now, I think that is actually going to be it. And I really do hope I helped. So I will catch you all later, guys. And that's it for now. Bye.